Welcome to the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, where it is never too early for fantasy football. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Alex.
As always, thank you for downloading, listening, liking, and commenting on our podcast videos. Please join our community by subscribing to us on the socials. Our handle on all platforms is at N2E Fantasy. We are also available on all major podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy. Alex, what do we have on today's show?
Well, there's no big news items recording. So on this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast, we are going to lay out our ideal first and second rounds for 2026 redraft leagues. Half-point PPR, single quarterback. We'll lay out our top 24 picks each.
Yes, sir. And do you want to go ahead and get it kicked off with what your 101 would be?
My 101 would be Jahmyr Gibbs, running back for Detroit. I think he's the lead back this year.
All right. I hope so for you, because I think you have a few shares of him currently. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have no shares of him, so I have no dog in this race. But my 101 would be Bijan Robinson, and I have of our last podcast, that should not be that big of a surprise, but definitely my guy. And we'll snake this up a bit here, Alex. My 102 will be Jahmyr Gibbs.
My 102 is Bijan Robinson. I think those two are a tier of their own, and they are the clear top running backs in this class. The ones you feel safest with, the ones that have the highest potential as well. So you could slice them either way. I mean, my preference is Gibbs. Your preference is Bijan. So
it is. It's interesting because for the longest time I wasn't a Bijan guy, and I feel like I was more of a Gibbs guy. But when it comes down to it, who I think can be the bell cow, I think it'll be Bijan over Gibbs. But maybe Gibbs doesn't need as many opportunities as Bijan to be fantasy number one.
Well, I think you're giving too much credit to Pacheco being there. I think Pacheco is not going to be used that heavily.
That's fair. I just think that Gibbs is a small running back, and small running backs typically don't carry the ball 300 to 400 times a season.
We'll see.
Yes, we will.
All right.
My number 103.
My number 103 is Jamar Chase. He's head and shoulders the number one wide receiver out of everyone, both talent-wise and situationally, with Joe Burrow as his quarterback. So he leads the pack here, and I think he and the top two running backs are an elite tier. And I would cut it right there, as those guys are bona fides and everyone else after this is not in the same tier.
Okay, so you want a top three pick overall. I would argue that my tier would end at 6 to expand it a little bit further. And my 103, to not keep teasing here, is Jonathan Taylor.
Interesting. You went a run of 6 running backs in yours is my guess.
Gotta have a run on running backs. Running backs are the harder position to draft. You can find receivers that could carry you for weeks and stretches. I think that's a lot harder with running back.
Oh, this is a receiver stretch for me.
All right. So you feel differently on that, and that's great. My number 4, though, is Christian McCaffrey.
My number 4 is Puka Nacua.
Okay, he's great. He's also he's going to be part of this tier for me, so you'll be hearing his name shortly. But yeah, outside of Chase and Nacua, there's no one that I feel great about, and that includes JSN, because Puka and Chase have done this for 3 or more seasons at this level.
JSN is my 105. Excellent year last year, the number one wide receiver, I think, finish. I don't know if they'll be able to do that again like that with a different OC, but I think, game film being out there on Darnold, unsure about the success of the running game. I think teams may be trying to scheme JSN out. So Darnold will have to not lock on to his number one target, but JSN is so talented, he's still going to have a good season regardless, even if it's not as spectacular as last year.
Absolutely. Don't disagree with you there. He's only done it once, as we've talked about, so that's a little bit concerning for me. And a lot has changed in a year. But my 105 is Jamar Chase, so this is where I see my first wide receiver coming off the board. I do fully admit that he probably will go top 3, so at 5 I'll never get a chance at him, but I'll be able to get a shot at my other 4 at number 5.
Right.
It,
And who do you have at 106?
at 6, I would go Puka Nakua. So 2 of the elite wide receivers here.
My lights just flickered here, Jeff, so if I lose power, we'll just start over or pick up from this point, maybe. So you are lower on Chase and Puka than me, and you are higher on your running backs list.
Yep. So running backs have a better value over replacement. The replacement receiver is a lot lower than, or is a lot higher than the replacement running backs that you'll get later.
I don't blame you for that, but I think you also have to factor in the caliber of running back as well. And I think some of these receivers are a higher caliber receiver than their running back equivalent at the spots. So my preference, if I'm drafting, would be the hero running back strategy where you draft a good running back early and then draft a bunch of wide receivers and draft a few mid round and late round running backs to complement the one bona fide guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it just depends on where you fall in the draft.
And you definitely can do that. And I have been, obviously, with whatever way the draft goes, because obviously if everyone's doing that, then you have more stud running backs left and you should gobble those all up before going for receivers. But it really depends on how the draft settles and comes to you. And in that particular scenario, I've been more leaning towards completing my entire starting lineup first, the guys that are going to score me the most amount of points versus more bites at the apple.
All right. Well, someone who I think is going to score more points than some of the running backs that you just drafted ahead of him is Amon-Ra St. Brown at my 106. He is reliable every single year. I'm happy to have him, and I think that this is going to be a good year for the Detroit offense in general.
Absolutely. I could definitely see why someone would take St. Brown there. He is a stud. He's also the second Lion in your top 6. So that's a pretty respectable feat right there to have 2 players on a team inside of the top 6. Who is your 7?
At 107, I have Drake London. I think just target like usage wise, he's going to earn this position. He also has the talent. I really like him as a wide receiver. We'll see if he can do it all the way through the season with Tua and Penix as his quarterbacks, which ironically are similar and yet completely different quarterbacks, where Penix is much better at the deep ball and very imprecise and shaky outside of that, and Tua is much more of a short game, reliably accurate until he gets a concussion kind of quarterback. Nothing exciting, just reliably okay, short yardage wise.
Completely agree there. I am a little floored and shocked that you have not put Ashton Genty on your list
I
so
think you'll
far.
like where I put him. I don't have a
Yeah.
third running back yet.
I argued last year that he should not be a first rounder, and we are very close to the end of your first round, and we'll see if he
We're
makes
halfway
it
through. We're at pick
or
7.
not.
We're at pick 7.
We
Who's
are
your pick
halfway
7?
there. Pick 7, I have another running back, Devon Achane.
You are higher on Achane than I am. I like him, but I'm giving him the bad offense slide just a little bit.
He had a bad offense last year, and he still produced once Hill went out.
Well, his quarterback somewhat downgraded, and his coach downgraded. He went from Mike McDaniel to Bobby Slowick, which
That's fair.
Bobby Slowick might have learned some things working with Mike McDaniel last year, but that doesn't mean it's going to be great. and we don't know what Malik Willis is as a full-time starter. They don't really have wide receivers to stretch the defense. So
Gotta think he's be better than bench Tua, right? Though.
yeah, I think he could be more effective in the offense, but that doesn't mean it's through the air.
Well, that would be good for me.
Well, I mean, sometimes rushing quarterbacks steal rushing stats, but he hasn't really shown the propensity to pass to the running backs in his time with Green Bay. So that, I mean, it's just pure projection to see will he do it now in this offense.
That is fair. And then we have my sixth running back at 8, and it's James Cook.
My eighth pick is another wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb.
We should be in more leagues together.
We would never compete over the same player at the same spot,
That's great.
which is great.
My favorite.
But my next pick is James Cook at 9 as the
Okay.
third running back taken on my board so far.
We're close. You'd be mad when I grabbed him up at 8, but like
No,
I should have had him at 9.
Hmm.
My number 9 is Amara St. Brown. He is my third receiver off of the board, so you can kind of see where I am starting to go now, back towards wide receivers a little bit, and that continues with Jackson Smith Njigba at 10.
I'm wondering if you are doing a standard scoring board instead of PPR.
Half point, always.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all my running backs. They can catch the ball. Every single one of them ahead of them.
I would not put my number 10, Jonathan Taylor, I would not put him above those wide receivers. He, to me, is not going to get all that receiving work and may not even have his quarterback from last year playing that well when he comes back from the Achilles. Have heard nothing on Daniel Jones and his recovery. And I'm worried about that because if you don't have a reliable quarterback, then Jonathan Taylor is not going to get those points.
You've been living under a rock? I think Friday last week it was Daniel Jones, all systems go, no limitations for camp.
I don't believe that for 1 second. That's propaganda.
It's AI.
Propaganda. Fake news.
Who's your 111?
My 111 is Ashton Genty.
Okay.
He still makes my first round. I have him in enough leagues that I won't be so hurt that I'm taking, Jamar Chase instead of Ashton Genty in my one of my redrafts. But I like Genty. I like his upside. I'm not sure the Raiders are exactly where they need to be yet, but I think it's going to be better than last year. He got the usage last year, didn't have the effectiveness because the offensive line was terrible and the quarterback play was terrible and the receivers weren't very good. I don't think the receivers changed that much, but the offensive coordinator is now a new head coach and he won a Super Bowl with almost a similar setup. So we'll see. But I like Genty a lot and this is the lowest I really would feel comfortable with him. I wouldn't want to let him slide from this point. But if I did wind up with him with a later pick, I would be very happy.
That is fair. All right. So we have my 111, and that is CeeDee Lamb. So 3 spots below you, but still a first rounder. Should rebound from last year. I'm kind of banking on that. And we close up my first round with Derrick Henry coming in the 12th spot.
Derrick Henry's lower for me. I have Christian McCaffrey here at 12. I like Christian McCaffrey, but it seems like every year he gets heavy usage, he gets injured the next year. And this was quite heavy usage. I downgraded Barkley more than him. And that's for, being on the Eagles as well as being heavily used.
Yeah. He wasn't that heavily used last year.
What are you talking about,
Barkley.
man? Didn't he have almost 400 carries?
No, 280 or something like that. It was something ridiculously low.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Am I positive? No, because that would take me a recall memory of 3 or 4 weeks ago when I was inputting these. But if I remember correctly, I remember how small his usage was, and I was just like, geez, 280 carries.
Yeah,
Yep.
280 carries. Only 50 catches.
Yep. 50 targets, 37 catches.
Well, yeah, I might have to fix my list here. Well,
But
I'm glad you said something. I might have made a horrible mistake with this ranking.
the alarming part, though, is 4.07 yards per carry for Saquon Barkley. That was the alarming part of that whole thing.
Well, I'm not only going to have to fix this, I'll have to fix my running back rankings.
So why was his usage so pulled back last year? Like, what happened? I would love to dig into that. I would love the Eagles to dig into that, because everything that we have would be speculation. He is 29. Is it the age wall?
Age wall is a thing, but isn't McCaffrey like the same age?
But they didn't peel back his thing by almost 100 touches, 150 touches. He almost set the league record. He would have if he ran that last week, 2 years ago. I can't believe I recalled the exact number. That was the more shocking part when I looked at it. Was
You must
it
have
was
had a similar issue as I had, and that's stuck in your mind. Like, no, I'll keep him here.
Yeah. I'm concerned that they used him that little and he wasn't really injured. And I'm concerned with his usage more than anything. I know you're going to
All
bump
right,
him
so
up because he didn't hit a certain threshold, but why didn't he hit that certain threshold last year?
it's a good question.
All right.
But I think you can blame it on Patullo or whatever that guy, whatever the OC last year was. Kevin
Yeah.
Patullo.
Yep.
Anyway, my number 13 is Devon Achan. So he's right at the turn for me.
Very respectable. And I believe that we have most of the same players so far, with no variation of our top 13. And I'll close that loop here with 201 with Ashton Genty. He is my first pick of the second round.
So we both have him at the turn, basically.
Yep.
It's just preference for whoever's picking there.
Yep, and you could swap him and Henry pretty easily, because obviously the person that has 12 probably has what?
Yeah.
I just wanted to put some respect onto Henry's name and gave him the first round pick.
I just want to say I think Christian McCaffrey will be long gone by the 12th overall pick. So I expect him to be closer to the middle of the draft, and it really depends on if someone's going running back heavy, or if you're going on a run of running backs or whatever your settings are. But my comfortability is 12. Like,
You're hoping he's gone
so
by the time he gets to you.
yes, because I will have to take him.
Yep, that would be interesting. So my 202 is, and we'll see if we can kind of keep some of the similar players going or not, but I doubt that this one will show up on your list, and it's Kyron Williams.
He is not in my top 24, and I'm a little shocked he's in yours. But you are going running back heavy in your selections here.
Absolutely. There's double digit running backs in my first two rounds, which there probably is for you too.
My 202 or 14th guy, depending on how you want to look at it, is Brock Bowers. He's the first tight end that comes up. He's going to be the Jackson Smith and Jigba role, but instead of wide receiver, he's playing tight end. I really like him. You're getting wide receiver stats at the tight end position, which is an insane value. And the difference between him and maybe the second guy, but specifically Brock Bowers over most starting tight ends, the difference in value is so tremendous. It's potentially league winning for you. So if you get if you get a running back in the first round that's bona fide, and you get him in the second round, you should be at a clear advantage in your league, assuming you don't mess up the rest of the draft.
So in your rankings, you have Genty and Bowers as the picks for 11 and 2, which they would be on the same team. Would you be comfortable starting your team with two Raiders?
Oh yeah, those two, yes.
Your team would be hitched to the Raiders' success then that year.
Yes, probably.
Yep, and that makes me nervous coming right out of the gate. So,
well,
your
bad
first two
teams
picks.
run a lot of plays, Jeff.
That is true. Who is your 203 or your 15th pick?
That's Saquon Barkley.
Hey, we have
Barkley
something in common. He is my 15th pick at 203 as well. So we have our first samey for the day.
That's crazy that it takes the 15th to have the same. But we've been fairly close.
Usually you get more egregious as the as the picks go on, like
Right.
further apart.
More egregious.
Not you per se, but like the differences is more egregious than the same pick. It'd be like us being at pick 100 and being like, "Oh, we have the same player at pick 100." Like, how did that? The odds of that happening is a lot lower.
Yeah.
And my 204 is Drake London, who has some quarterback questions for the 100th
Wow.
year in a row.
Wow. That's low, man. That is a huge difference between us.
Yep, a whole round.
I mean, I would have understood like towards the end of the first round, but that is bigger than I thought.
He's never been a bona fide stud. That's not to say that he can't be. And we'll see if he can put it all together with half Tua and half Penix. It'll probably be some sort of combination of them this year. He did get paid.
Interesting.
He did get paid. All right, year 204 is on the clock.
Yep. Mine is Chase Brown, running back
Wow.
for the Bengals.
Can't believe how much you like him now.
Well, he's a receiving back, and they questionably gave him a heavy workload last year when I didn't think that they should have. And he performed without Burrow being there for most of the season.
Yep. And you started the ninth team here with James Cook and Chase Brown, and the third team with Barkley and Jonathan Taylor. So if you're looking at this from a team perspective, you would have two Raiders at your 11 spot, and at your 12 spot, you would have HN and McCaffrey, which is either going to boom. You might as well call that team boom or bust.
Yeah. At my 205, I have Nico Collins.
Your boy Nico makes an appearance on the list.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting you don't put him in the same tier as London and Lamb and there. He's kind of got his own tier to himself.
Well, you can still make the argument that Lamb should have been above London, and you can make the argument London should be dragged down.
I
I
did make that
am
argument.
uncertain how much passing stats the Texans are going to do this year. So I think that they want to run the ball more than they did last year, and they want to run effectively, and they want to play good defense. And I'm also tired of Nico Collins missing like 2 or 3 weeks every single year because of soft tissue injuries or concussion.
Yep, it happens every year. I fully expect that to continue to happen.
If he could stay healthy for a whole season and had solid quarterback play, he'd be heads and shoulders above Drake London, in my opinion.
He sure would. And my 2-5 is Brock Bowers. So I did finally come around to putting Brock Bowers in my top two rounds. Took me a little while to get to that mindset of putting a tight end that high.
Who do you have at 206?
I have the guy that you just mentioned, Nico Collins, at 206. So we are kind of in line and in sync with Nico Collins there.
All right, my 206, someone who's probably not in your top 24, is Devonta Smith, wide receiver for Philly.
Yeah, he definitely does not make my top 24.
Yeah. Well,
Feel
the analytics are there if he's now the number one role with number one targets and being one of the few guys that runs routes that Hurts can actually accurately throw to and being featured. Analytics should line everything up to where he gets big numbers and outperforms this position. But I like him. I like him this year, and you don't.
Yeah, I really don't. So I really hope someone takes him in the second round. I have at pick 77 right now.
Whoa! Oh my. Okay. So he goes from 18 to 77 for you? Big difference.
Wide receiver 31 for me. Wide receiver 31. I don't think
Okay. I,
skinny Batman is going to perform this year, being the one.
I think we should split the difference.
That's fine.
I think somewhere in the 30s is probably where he should go.
Yeah, I would prefer people to take a look and make their best decision that they can with both of our points of view.
All right. Well, my 207 is Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
It feels like quite a fall from first to second round for him, but he's, I think, lower on your list than mine because you had him as your 13th wide receiver in our wide receiver episode,
Mm-hmm.
and I had him as my ninth. So I can only imagine he probably doesn't make your list, does he?
Nope, he's a third rounder for me.
Ooh.
Yep. And now you can see why I'm selling him off in as many leagues as I am, because I'm down on how much of a passing offense it's going to be this year. And
Well, they don't have
that's
a
going to
bona
look like.
fide running back, so there's that.
Come on, they got Claiborne.
So they still have Aaron Jones. They have Jordan Mason, which
A lot of people are.
reliable-ish, but not exciting. I like Claiborne as the passing down back and the speedy change of pace guy. I don't think he can handle being a main running back. So they have three rotation guys and no one that really stands out. Kyler is a bit of a rusher. I think
Yep.
that they're going to have to pass the ball a lot to stay in games. And I think Justin Jefferson's going to get peppered with the ball. I don't think his upside explosion is there, but he'll reliably get a heavy amount of targets, a heavy amount of possession catches, probably some touchdowns. It's just he's not going to get close to the days when he could have gone for 2,000 yards like Puka and Cooper Kupp have done. Or JSN. So I'm a little bit more optimistic than you, but I certainly am not classic Justin Jefferson optimistic with his production. Because Kyler is limited, but he is way better than JJ McCarthy.
I would tend to agree with that, but we'll see what he has left in the tank. I guess he has a lot to prove this year. Will he prove it? Is the question.
You know, if the Bengals were serious about winning, they would have traded T. Higgins to Minnesota for Justin Jefferson. Reunite the LSU squad together.
I don't disagree there. And who is your? Oh, it's actually my turn, isn't it?
Yep.
With
Your 207.
207, I have Omarion Hampton here.
You're a little bit higher on him than I am.
I know you were down on him in the positional ranks, thinking that they're going to spread the rushing around.
They are. They absolutely will. And I don't think Hampton has receiving work, so I don't really think that that's a thing. So it limits his upside, but I do have him a little bit later.
Hey, he makes your second round at the very least, which is a little bit surprising. I didn't think we'd hear his name on this list.
He almost didn't. He almost didn't.
All right, my pick 20 or 208 is Josh Jacobs.
Jingleheimer Smith.
Yep. And obviously that will be impacted by if there is an investigation going on and what the results of that is.
I am baking in his trouble, and he doesn't make my top 24. My 208 is Trey McBride. He's the only other tight end that makes my top 24.
Trey McBride. Okay.
Cardinals are terrible, and when they're terrible, Trey McBride puts up stats.
No love for love?
He might make an appearance on my list.
No love for love? Yeah, Trey McBride does squeak onto my list a little bit later, but you know how I feel about tight ends in the first two rounds. I'm okay with missing out and grabbing the second year studs later.
I think I would pass on McBride, but I would still take Powers in the second round.
Okay. Yeah, it's really hard to take a tight end at that spot. Right. I think you have one more here, right? 209 or was that
209, I have Jalen Waddle, another guy that you don't have in your top 24.
You probably want it, so you could
Yeah,
laugh.
you probably have him at pick 50 something, is my guess.
You're a little bit high. I'm still there. 67.
Oh my gosh, Jeff. I think do yourself a solid. You need to raise Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle. You don't have to have them as high as I have them, but where you have them is crazy low.
You're acting
Crazy.
like Joe Montana's throwing in these offenses.
No, I'm not. If I was, I'd say you have to have them as high as I have 'em. I'm saying 60s and 70s for those two guys is craziness. At a minimum, they're wide receiver twos. They're not below wide receiver two.
Okay.
So, at a minimum, they should be at least in the 40s and 50s, depending on how many quarterbacks and tight ends you also throw in there.
I'm
So
fully listening. I'm listening to your logic here.
They consistently have put up production. They get to be the number one guys. I know you disagree a little bit. Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Tua. Sean Payton is still a good OC, if a little too prideful and whatever. But he is now turned the reins over to young Davis Webb, and there's going to be less screenplays, more down the field threats. Franklin
Why
has
do you
been one of
think
the
that?
worst down the field wide receivers. Mims has been inconsistent his whole time, and they haven't been able to utilize the down the field thing. So Waddle is going to be the down the field threat. He's going to be the new alpha wide receiver for this team.
And you're not giving any of that failure, though, to Nix, which is kind of weird that you're giving him a full pass on the receivers.
I mean, he's only been in the league 2 years, and I think it's pretty clear when you hit your receivers in the hands and they drop it, it's on them.
So with Nix, I got him at 592 passing attempts, completing 382 of them, which is roughly like 65% completion percentage for 3,800 yards. So I had to divide that up between Dobbins, Harvey, Coleman, Waddle, Sutton, Franklin, Bryant, Mims, Ingram, Jolly, I think is going to be used a lot too for a rookie. So there's a lot of mouths to feed. And I have Waddle at 74 receptions for 998 yards and 5 touchdowns.
That's too low. It's too low.
Okay.
It's too low. You should reevaluate where you give Waddle and Sutton the vast majority, and then everyone else works from what's left.
They do have the vast majority because the rest of the receivers have a total of 716 yards split between the three of them. And that's given Ingram only 500 yards, which is very low for a tight end one.
Well, what did Ingram do last year?
What did he do last year? Let's scroll on over. He did 461 yards in 16 games on only 76 targets. So, and
Yeah.
he only had
I don't
one
think-
touchdown.
I don't think Ingram has worked out like they wanted him to. And I mean, people thought he was going to get like 700 plus yards and multiple touchdowns to be the Joker position. And he just looked average out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
You seem to think
Waddle is exactly the piece that this offense needs to break out. I mean, they've tried twice. They tried with Mims, and that didn't work. And they tried with Franklin, and that didn't work.
why didn't Franklin work? He had 65 grabs for 709 yards last year and 6 touchdowns. Why do you think he's just going to disappear?
Because he's wildly inefficient.
What do you mean? Why he caught 65% of the balls thrown his direction?
He had brutal drops.
Okay.
Brutal drops.
He's a rookie.
No, I think last year he was a sophomore.
Yeah, it was the second year.
Same draft as Bo
It was
Nix.
Bryant that was the rookie. Bryant only had 1 touchdown on 31 grabs. I'm just saying, I think they're going to spread the ball around more than just feature 2 receivers. Like, they didn't spend these high draft picks not to use them.
They will spread the ball around just enough, but I mean, Sutton having another wide receiver next to him that's actually talented, both those guys are going to explode.
Okay. And I don't think Nix is going to throw for more than 3,800 yards. So
Nix to me is a shoe-in for over 4,000.
What? There is no such thing as a shoe. Not even Josh Allen's a shoe-in for over 4,000.
That's because Josh Allen runs too much.
I don't think there's that many 4,000-yard quarterbacks. So if you're putting Nix in that category, I think there's like 1 or 2 a season.
Hey, wasn't there a year where there's like a ton of them?
Yeah, that's way past. And last year, I think Burrow would have hit it if he was around more. But last year in 17 games, Nix hit 3,900 yards and 25 passing touchdowns.
So he was right on the cusp of it, and his wide receiver core was worse than it is today.
Yeah, I think you put way too much stock into Waddle, though. I don't think he's a great receiver in this league.
He was right on the cusp of it, and they had a ridiculous amount of dumb screenplays.
Yeah, but those were easy completions that he had. Who's to say that he can throw consistently down the field?
He can.
He can. Let's take your word for it.
I think our wagers this year are going to be Bo Nix related.
So quarterbacks that threw over 4,000 yards. I am pulling up that list right now. Last year there were 6 quarterbacks. Dak Prescott, who has 2 great receivers. Jared Goff, who has 2 good to great receivers. Trevor Lawrence, Matthew Stafford, the MVP, Drake May, Sam Darnold. Those are the only 6 quarterbacks that threw over 4,000 yards last year. So, and Sam Darnold has an elite weapon. Matthew Stafford was the MVP. Trevor Lawrence was playing on another level as soon as Parker Washington hit the roster.
When Parker Washington was on the roster, do you mean when Jacoby Myers hit the roster?
Yeah, I mean when he hit the lineup, when Washington hit the lineup, I feel like he soared way up because he was what, 4th receiver to start the year.
Yeah.
So I feel like he became the receiver 2 by the end of the year after Myers.
All I need for extra vindication is for A.T. Perry to come out of the woodworks and actually be good, just like Parker Washington was last year.
Yep. But does that change your opinion at all, hearing that there was only 6 quarterbacks over 4,000 yards last year?
No, because it's Sean Payton's offense. Like it's very it's super pass heavy. It really is.
That
Even trying to work in three to four running backs for some reason, it's very pass heavy.
Yeah, that's fair, but I would argue that the New Orleans was not Sean Payton and it was the Drew Brees offense. When you have a consistent quarterback that long, it becomes the quarterback's offense.
Okay,
Same thing with Brady.
I
It
get
was not
Drew Brees did not do that in San Diego. He
okay.
did
He
not
was a
put those
rookie
numbers
on
up.
his rookie deal.
Drew Brees was a game manager in San Diego. You put him in a dome with weather controlled conditions because it's a dome. And Sean Payton, who was a brilliant mind at that time, still is a solid mind now in the modern age. I think all the combinations made Drew Brees and Sean Payton great. But Sean Payton before that was the Cowboys offensive coordinator with Tony Romo and made Tony Romo look really good, an undrafted free agent quarterback. So let's not pretend that Drew Brees did everything there, because Drew Brees did not have a Hall of Fame career until he went to New Orleans.
Totally respect that, but he was on his rookie deal in San Diego, and how many rookies are allowed to take the complete leash off of them, especially back then?
San Diego was a run-heavy, defensive-minded team as well. When Drew Brees was there, they didn't become pass-heavy until Philip Rivers took over.
But it still took Philip Rivers a while too. It wasn't like they turned it
Yeah,
into a
but they kicked Drew Brees to the curb as soon as they had Philip Rivers in the wings.
well, a lot of that was his shoulder. They didn't know what was going
Yep.
on with that. So,
But also, before he got hurt, he wasn't exactly lighting up the scoreboard.
right, absolutely. And then Rivers comes along and he throws for, well, Rivers only started 2 games his first 2 seasons, or only played in 2 games his first 2 seasons. So that was with Breeze. So on his rookie deal, he never hit over 3,300 passing yards. Just
Well,
saying, with the bridge after the rookie deal, he started hitting 4,000 yards each year.
yeah, well, they never intended Drew Brees to be their long-term answer even before he had a shoulder injury. And he was drafted in the second round, I believe. And the combination of him being in a dome and Sean Payton is what made Drew Brees a 5,000-yard quarterback.
Yep. He was picked. You want to know what's funny about Breeze? He was picked 32 of the 2001 NFL draft. I believe a team had to forfeit a draft pick. Every other year, pick 32 would have been a first round pick.
Yep. Yep. He was technically the first pick in the second round.
Yep. But in a normal draft, he would have been a first round.
Was that the Spygate scandal?
No, that was way too early. That was way before that was a thing. But yeah, I don't know
I think
who
it was.
forfeited their pick.
I mean, a good guess without looking it up would be the Patriots for the ones who had to forfeit it for some reason.
They had the 6th pick and they drafted Richard Seymour that year. That's a great guess, though, because that was before Brady, though, because Brady wasn't even drafted at that point.
No, Spygate was when Brady was there.
Yeah,
Because
but
Eric
2001 Brady
Mangini
wasn't there
left
yet.
and became the coach of the Jets or something like that. I can't remember.
2001 NFL draft. Who lost a pick? 2 teams forfeited picks due to salary cap violations. Let's see. Am I in the right draft year?
Interesting.
Yep. Why only Was there only 31 teams then? I think there was only 31 teams then. Because I don't think the Browns, the new Browns, became a thing until after this. So Baltimore
Panthers
still was.
were 30th team,
Yep.
or Texans were 31st. The new Browns were 32nd.
What year did the Texans enter the league?
2001, 2002, something like that.
2002. So that's why there was only 31 picks in this draft. You guys could have had Drew Brees if this was the expansion draft turned around
And Drew
one more
Brees
year early.
over Derek Carr would have been phenomenal.
Exactly. Michael Vick was the first pick in the draft.
David Carr, sorry.
Michael Vick was the first pick, though. Michael Vick.
Well, that would have worked in Houston.
Yep. That would have been a lot of
All right,
fun, at least. All right.
where are
We
we
got
at?
on a.
Are we at 209 still? Like, what's
We are. We're on my 209 because we got on a Waddle tangent. Not a Whittle tangent, a Waddle tangent.
he's got a whittle waddle.
Yep. Chase Brown would be my 209. And speed things up a little bit here. My 210 will be Bucky Irving.
Yeah, Bucky Irving does not make my top 24. My 210 is Derrick Henry.
All right. At least King Henry makes your list.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll be getting him in any
Yeah,
leagues.
I don't know what the new offense is for the Ravens, to be honest with you. I like Derrick Henry enough that I think he's draftable in the second round, but he doesn't really contribute much on the pass side, and I really don't know what to do with the Ravens, to be honest with you.
That is fair. I mean, they could be really great. They got a good enough schedule, or they could be really bad.
Yeah. My 211 is a Marion Hampton, so he does make my second round.
Wow. So he does make it. That's great to hear. My 211 is Kenneth Walker. I think that he deserves a shot in the second round on his new team. Still don't believe that he's going to be the bell cow that everyone wants, but I think he'll have better opportunities in Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a bell cow either, so he doesn't make my second round. I think to me he's more like a fourth round pick, and I know that's probably crazy to some people, but he's just going to be a boomer bust guy in Kansas City is my feeling on it.
Absolutely. Can't be
He's,
any worse than what they've had, though.
yeah, they got him because he's a home run hit guy, not because he's a grinder.
Also coming off of an MVP in the Super Bowl.
I like Kenneth Walker. But I know what he is.
Me too. I don't think I'll get him because I think people will still take him high second round because there's going to be a few chief truthers out there. All right, let me wrap this up into a nice bow with Trey McBride as my last pick in the second round.
I have Jeremiah Love here at this spot.
So there is some love for Jeremiah.
I don't like him as much as Genty last year
So you don't have any
because
shares of
Arizona.
him.
I don't think I'll end up with any shares of Jeremiah Love, most
I
likely.
know. You ended up
I
with all the Genty.
I don't think it'll be fun to have him this year with how bad the Cardinals are going to be. The fact that Cardinals can't even make Marvin Harrison work, so I don't really trust that they'll make Jeremiah Love work when they already have a running back that they signed this offseason in Algier that should have been one of their top two guys, and they have James Conner and they have Benson. So they have a 4 running back group that's better than anything that Genty had to compete with last year on the Raiders. So don't like it. Don't like it at all.
I do expect one of them to be cut or traded sometime in camp. Maybe two of them.
But I will say Love is probably going to be the receiving back because I think he's out of the other guys. He and James Conner are really the only two that can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yep. And I know you just saw in one of our Dynasty rookie drafts, I grabbed Kenneth Walker's backup because I believe that he'll be splitting with Kenneth Walker somewhat.
Who is Kenneth Walker's new backup, Jeff?
Emmett Johnson. Cannot wait to see what this guy does.
I like him. As soon as he went to the Chiefs, I was like,
yep. Because there's always a chance Kenneth Walker hurts a ligament or a knee or something like that, and Emmett Johnson gets sprung right into the starting roster. That is our top 24.
Yep, that does it for our top 24, our first 2 rounds, if you will. A lot of differences. So you guys can just pick your bias and pick which ones you like the most, or you can take both of them and average them out, and maybe that will be more accurate. Who knows? But it's always nice to have different takes. I don't know which one of us is the jackal and which one's the Mr. Hyde here, but I'm always right. So that does it for this episode of the Never Too Early Fantasy Football Podcast. Thank you all for downloading and listening to this episode, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave us a comment and share the show. Every little bit helps.
You can find us on all podcasting apps by searching N2E Fantasy and with our handle at N2E Fantasy on all social media platforms. Please join our community and give us a follow. Until next time, take care of yourselves and remember, it's truly never too early for fantasy football. Thank you again.
Bye, everybody.